Hey guys, I've got a second video today. So I saw this on my feed, how Trump derangement syndrome is completely it's gone off the deep end. I'm seeing an article here that was on my Twitter feed from Out Magazine. Trump's plan to decriminalize homosexuality is an old racist tactic. Here's why we shouldn't be cheering the Trump administration. Now, this article here is a pure case of Trump derangement syndrome, and I'll preface this by saying that anytime Trump does something good, they have to assume that there's a bad reason behind it. And they will literally go through any mental gymnastics. They'll go through any links to try to find a bad reason for this. So, and I'm not going to read this whole article. I'll keep it kind of brief. But essentially, the Trump administration is set to launch a global campaign to decriminalize homosexuality in dozens of nations where anti-gay laws are still in the books, NBC News reported on Monday. While on the surface the move looks like an atypical benevolent decision by the Trump administration, the details of the campaign belie a different story. Rather than actually being about helping queer people around the world, the campaign looks more like another instance of the right using queer people as a pawn to amass power and enact its own agenda. So they go through this article here, and what we find out is that that we have a top gay official in the White House who is pressuring Iran and other theocratic countries that criminalize homosexuality, that there needs to be sanctions put on these countries for that reason. And they're trying to build up a coalition in Europe to do that. So, for example, here, homosexuality has been illegal in Iran since the theocratic 1979 Islamic Revolution. By at least one Guardian account, since the exit of President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad in 2013, enforcement of anti-gay laws has softened somewhat. But homosexuality, according to the writer, is an open secret, and most queer people fear homophobic reaction from its fellow citizens more than the authorities. And then we have Grinnell's sudden interest in Iran's anti-gay laws is strikingly similar to Trump's rhetoric after the 2016 Pulse massacre in Orlando, Florida. After the deadly shooting, Trump used the 49 deaths as a way to galvanize support for an anti-Muslim agenda rather than find a way to support LGBTQ people. In pushing for immigration restrictions and a Muslim ban, Trump argued he was the true pro-LGBTQ candidate. Rather than honor those who died, Trump used the tragedy as a way to stoke fear among the American people. And Grinnell is taking similar actions with Iran, trying to reach an economic goal by painting the administration's opponent as anti-gay, which they are. And the Pulse massacre, and why this is important is that the Pulse massacre was committed by a Muslim person who thought gays were dirty. They thought, gays were sinful people and that they deserved to die. And you see that in countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia, where homosexuality is a crime and you can be executed for these things. I believe it's like that in Egypt as well. So, but it's not good enough to say, hey, we need to tell these countries to stop being anti-gay. No, we're doing it because we're racists. Right? That makes no sense. And the thing is that in these theocratic countries, Islam does not allow for gay people to exist. I mean, that's the reason why these theocratic countries their laws are dictated by a religion that has not gone through a secular reformation like Christianity has. They are killing gay people because that's what the religion dictates. It's not a religion of peace. It's not a beautiful religion like they think it is. So that's why it's important to say, hey, these countries need to be held to account for their anti-gay agendas and laws. And to say that this is not a good thing because it's some veiled racism, it's just mind-blowing. How is this not a good thing? So, I mean, in the next sentence, I think it even kind of solidifies this. We know Trump is very focused on Iran, is looking for ways to demonize it in the public opinion. And there's one area where the U.S. and European countries see eye to eye on Iran. Josh Letterman, who reported the original NBC News story, told Out in a phone interview. So it makes for them to focus strategically on that rather than sanctions, where there's a big gulf between the U.S. and its allies. So Trump is basically saying, hey, let's get a coalition of countries to say, you shouldn't kill gay people. How is that bad? I mean, the thing is that this article is implying that killing gay people, or allowing these countries to continue criminalizing gay people, and to allow these countries to execute gay people, is better than Trump getting a coalition of countries to say, hey, until you get these laws off the book, we're going to put in sanctions. I mean, the implication is that we much rather have gay people being killed than these laws or these sanctions going into place because these countries are anti-gay. It's Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, anything good Trump does, there's got to be an evil reason behind it. The truth is that this is part of an old colonialist handbook. In her essay, Can the Subaltern Speak?, post-colonial theorist Gayatri Spivak coined the term white men saving brown women from brown men to describe the racist, paternalistic process by which colonizing powers would decry the way men in power treated oppressed groups like women to justify attacking them. Spivak was referencing the British colonial agenda in India. Burgonell's attack might be a case of white men trying to save brown gay men from brown straight men to the same end. And that's just purely an assumption, right? They're purely assuming that this is why they're making this push. And what if there was some Eastern European country that was killing gay men, right? I'm assuming that there would be the same outcry like there is now. This is completely mind-blowing. There are several sides that the decisions denoted in a colonial sense of paternalism rather than any true altruism. According to the report, the decriminalization campaign is set to begin in Berlin, where LGBTQ activists from across Europe will meet to hatch a plan that is mostly concentrated in the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean. So it's not just Islam, it's people in Africa and the Caribbean. That sentence alone should set off several alarm bells. First of all, the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean are huge geopolitical entities. Attitudes toward gay people differ greatly among countries and regions within those entities. And attempting to gather a room of European activists on how to deal with queer issues in those regions is definition of paternalism. But here's the thing, is that those anti-gay laws run rampant in those regions. There's many, many countries in Africa. There's many, many countries in the Caribbean. There's many, many countries, or in the Caribbean. And there's many, many countries in the Middle East where gay people are being executed and criminalized. But there's no countries in Europe. There's no countries in the Americas that really have the same laws, right? So what does it matter? That's where most of these laws happen. And the thing is in the Caribbean, Africa, and Middle East, there is a ton of old world religions there that have not gone through any reformation, and where a lot of those religions will criminalize homosexuality. According to Letterman, the names of the activists attending the dinner scheduled for Tuesday night in Berlin are not yet known, but they hail from a dozen European countries, including countries from Eastern and Central Europe, where legal protections of LGBTQ people are weaker than in Western Europe. The names of the activists are being concealed, as some are not ready to be identified publicly. And so it kind of goes on about the rest of that. But this is the definition of Trump derangement syndrome, where Trump wants to condemn countries that are criminalized or who are criminalizing homosexuality, executing homosexuals. And that's a bad thing because orange man bad. And we much rather have those countries still commit these crimes. That's what they're saying. So anyways, this article is just completely blowing my mind. But anyways, if you like this content, go and hit that like button. If you disagree with me, please comment below. I am more than happy to engage with critical and civil discussion. So please go ahead and let me know what you think. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.